What's in a name? Is a rose by any other name not as sweet? Tonight we're going to be talking about deconversion. And what do you call somebody who's distanced themselves from the Christian faith, but maybe still has some Christian identifiers? What can you lose and still be able to be called a Christian? That's what we're going to talk about today, whenever you're watching this. But welcome to Ichabod. I'm your host, Be Good. Come on into the chat and do the thing we like to do here. Greet somebody in reason's name. And we are looking for a good one. I see y'all in the chat. What's happening? Daryl Williams, Without Faith, big hug. Ambassador LPW, what's going on? Yes. We have a guest who's been on the platform before, and I have to be honest. When he was on the platform the first time around, it actually was one of my most favorite conversations that I've had with a guest up to that point, and it still is one of my most favorite conversations I've had to date. So hopefully we're going to have another great conversation. We'll probably have some, I think we're going to have some good convo light of the topic tonight. Pragmatic Crystal, hey, Ace Mac, what's going on? Yes. There's so much going on that I want to talk about, but I'm going to save some of that. So some announcements at the end. What's happening? See y'all. Greet somebody in reason's name. If we have any guests that come into the chat, any Christians, please play nice with them. But of course, we don't put up with the BS here either. So have fun, but play nice. Yes. All right. So I think I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest in so we can just dive right in and get to it. And I'm going to be honest with you all. I didn't tell my guest, but he's backstage, so he'll hear me say it now. About an hour and a half ago, I took some gummies, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I got a feeling in a little while the gummies are going to take me. So I actually had a thought the other day. I was about to post this on Facebook, but I was like, the Christians probably have a field day with this. But the more I indulge in, THC, one of you all messaged me in Patreon, tell me about your psychedelic psilocybin mushroom experiences. Well, I haven't gone that far. I don't know if I will. I bought some stuff that's stronger than THC. I won't say what it is for certain reasons, but I bought some stuff about a year ago, and I never took it because I don't know if I was afraid. I was waiting to take it with somebody, but I never took it. But I thought the other day, when I take THC and I'm like I just thought, let me make sure I'm on the right mic. Yes. When I take THC and I always get very existential when I take THC. And if you go back to my conversations with Mr. Biscuit, like when I talked to him and with a very sober mind, but when I took THC, I was like, I think I see what he's talking about. But I always get very existential. And the other day I just thought to myself, damn, I wonder what it would be like to be high in church. Like, not that it would make it any more believable, but just what my mind does when I'm loose like that. I would love to see like what my mind would do on some Jesus juice. Like I go into the church and they start worshiping, and the music is always richer, and it takes me to different places in my mind, my childhood. Like, man, if I went to a church and I was on the THC, I really wonder what the experience would be. If I would feel something that's, sort of otherworldly or just mystical and magical. And there are religions that do this. Like it's a part of how they get in touch with the divine. Some people say you have hints of that not just in the Hebrew Bible necessarily, but in archaeology in ancient Israel, that they were sparking it up. So anyway, that being said, we're good to go here. Hey, Eddie, what's going on? I'm going to go ahead and let me see. Lindsay Bridge says, I was high in church once. I couldn't stop giggling. because the choir looked like Muppets, and I had to leave. Oh man. Okay. All right. Enough is enough. I'm gonna go ahead and bring our guest onto the pod. Please help me welcome back to Ichabod. Jamin.
Hey, good to see you again.
Yo, you too, man. Thanks for coming back on. And hopefully we're live streaming to both your channel and mine.
We are. Yes, it was
Okay.
successful. Nice work.
So if you're not subscribed, so the first time Jamin came on, he hadn't launched his podcast yet. And everybody was like, yo, his voice, his clarity, the way he presents stuff, like, yo, he really does need to. Well, he was pitching that he was going to start a podcast last time. He has started the podcast. And how many episodes in are you?
About a dozen. Yeah.
Dozen. Okay. And in the chat, I'm going to type it is if. Oh, I'm not in the chat. What did I just do? I did something bad. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Something crazy popped up on my screen. I started typing without being in the chat.
Or did it? You might just be that high right now.
Yeah. If I'm really honest, I need my @ symbol. So, all right, there it is in the chat. If I'm really honest, new podcast on YouTube. Please go subscribe to If I'm Really Honest. Check out Jamin. But please tell us, since you started the podcast, what have you been talking about? What's been the response? I think you told me something about it's not really as much dealing with religion or theology, right?
Right. So then, so I've got the podcast that is the podcasts that I consume are mostly audio. So then I've got the audio podcast on Apple and all the places. And that is all almost exclusively non-religious. I mean, I'm there and I've got 40 years of religiosity behind me. So my brain tends to be in that world. But my guests are mostly non-religious. I have had on a rabbi and a couple YouTubers and stuff like that. But mostly it's like neurologists and extreme skiers and stuff like that. And it's just about and whistleblowers, because it's about people who have gone through a similar journey as mine, in that they were in a community and they saw something that they knew their community was not going to respond well to. And so then they're like, hey, it seems like there's a problem here. And the community goes, you don't look at those problems. And then what do you do with that? Do you decide to settle back down? Do you move forward? And so it's all about hey, I want to be a part of this group, but if I'm really honest, this thing right here, it seems like this is wrong. And then whatever comes after that. So it's whistleblowers and stuff like that are just are you going to go with internal honesty and follow that thing despite the costs, or are you going to sit back down and play it safe and, have a predictable life after that?
We just had that moment, how some movies, when they drop the title of the movie in the movie, hey, he just said the line.
Yeah, right.
But I love the way you just broke that down. First of all, I love the idea. I don't think you shared that with us the last time that you were on.
No.
Did you have that?
Well, I mean, that is my book. The title of my book was If I'm Really Honest, and it's just about my deconversion. And so that was my spirit coming out of that was I'm not looking to leave God, religion. I don't want to leave my community. If I'm really honest, here's some stuff that seems troubling to me.
Yeah.
So what are the answers? And so that was all of my mindset. And then I realized, as I branched out, there are a lot of people that have this same thing, and it's not always religion. A lot of it's religion. The people I know, it has a lot to do with religion, because that was my community. That's my world. But this is a common experience, just trying to navigate the acceptance of your community versus your internal honesty. That's always going to be a struggle.
That's a brilliant idea for several reasons. The most selfish reason, and I say it selfishly, but I also think I mean this because I want well for other people. I just think that's a great way to introduce people to it's not like you're really introducing people to the idea that can happen. People know that can happen. But to use the fact that we know that can happen, but then connect it to the thing that most people don't want to connect it to, which is your religion. And then your story is just one out of many. So they can't look at you as some outlier and say, oh, well, you just had a or maybe it was a bad church, or maybe no, like this is a common human experience, and it happens there too.
Yeah. And it's like the similarities between the stories is always amazing to me because it always feels like I'm in a good group. Like the people
Mm,
in my group, I just had on a lady named Wilby Britton, and she was a Buddhist. She was teaching meditation classes, and then she runs into this information. She does a study to prove how great meditation is for sleep, and she ends up realizing, oh, actually, if you do a lot of meditation, then you end up with an insomnia. And she goes to teachers and she's like, hey, did you
mm,
know this? And they're like, oh yeah, we knew that. Shut up. And she's like, wait a second. And she's in the group that is
mm,
like, we're loving, we're compassionate. That's our whole thing.
yeah.
Compassion is our whole thing. And then to watch that group that you believe fully is we're all about compassion, we're all about love, and have them all turn on you and then be the
Mm,
opposite of what, and then like the world shift that creates in everything, like in
yeah.
your self identity. Like I gave my life to this thing, I believed in this thing, and now I'm realizing, I'm seeing this is not what I thought it was.
Mm.
Like that's it. I mean, it sounds like the deconversion story. Every single time I hear it, it's like, yep, you thought that you were in a group that would never do this, and they did that to you. That sucks.
I just had a moment of connectivity because you're talking about this person who's in this group, and they're going to they're doing the research to find out or to validate or prove how true their mindset, their ideology, their philosophy is. I'm not doing anything to disprove. I'm going looking for more evidence of the same, and in that process, I find out there's issues. What I connected to in that is the day I went to meet with one of my former seminary professors after I deconverted. I think I think it was when I put my deconversion video out. I hadn't written my book yet. And I'm sitting with him, and he says to me, oh, I hate when people go into apologetics like looking to prove how sure the Bible is. Like, and I'm thinking, like, why do you hate when people go in that way? And his immediate response, without thinking of how crazy this was, because when you go in with that mindset, or when you go in with that goal, you're inevitably going to be shook by something that shakes that foundation. Like, don't go into it looking to prove how real or how good, however it is, because the second you find something that refutes that, now you're shattered. I'm like, well, maybe if you're talking about, meditation or something, you can afford to not be so gung-ho. But if you're telling me I've got the words of God, we have the word of God, which is more sure, right? All these, and I find something there that shakes no, like it's not a wrong-headed approach to go into it saying I'm going to prove this thing. You told me that I could. You told me that it was, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, if you can imagine, like them, any other field saying that. Like, I hate it when people go into like studying gravity, like trying to find out if it's right or not. Like, why? There's only one reason I could
Right,
imagine that would be troubling to you.
right.
But like, we believed it was true,
Yeah.
and people say this kind of thing, and then they treat us now like, well, of course, if you go in like trying to prove that it's wrong, then you're gonna find this wrong. Like, that shouldn't be possible, right?
Mm,
Like,
mm. Well, I don't know if this connection is going to hit for other people, but it also made me think about what's going on politically, with Trump trying to prosecute people for telling soldiers not to obey unlawful commands. And he's mad at them for telling them that. But it's like, wait, you only get mad at somebody for telling people not to obey unlawful commands if you planned on giving them unlawful commands. Why are you mad at me for saying the thing that you should have been like amen to? So anyway, I
that's
see
a
all
rough
these
one. Yep.
connections. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
anyway, so I asked you before we got on because I wanted to refresh my memory. I know you wrote the book, If I'm Really Honest, and we could even probably spend a minute on that too. If I'm Really Honest is only said after, hey, I love this thing. Like, I love the group. I love that. But if I'm going to be honest, I got issues. And so you were not trying to now it's all coming back to me because you had plans to write separate different books.
Yeah. Right.
You were not planning to stiff arm the church. You
Right.
wanted to embrace and be able to say, can we talk about this thing that if I wasn't so committed to you all, it would push me away. Can we talk about it? And then I asked you before we got on, so would you consider yourself deconverted? You said, well, to the deconverted, it's almost like to the Jew, I became a Jew. To the Greek,
Yes,
I
it is
became a
exactly
Greek.
like that.
To the deconverted, you can be deconverted. But to somebody who's not deconverted, are you saying you basically let them sniff out whether or not they want to push, like, oh, you're not really one of us, and if they don't, you kind of just are one of the pack? How do you deal with that?
Yeah. Okay. So then deconversion has a lot of baggage with the term. And I'm not on board with all of the baggage. I'm especially not on board with the evangelical misunderstanding of deconversion. And that's mostly where I hear the term is in people who are angry at deconversionists for, just wanting to go and sin and live their own lifestyle and all the stuff that, if you have
Is
gone through
that
that
part of the
process.
baggage that you're talking about?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And so like, and also like, I don't like the imagery of like deconversion or deconstruction, I guess, is even worse. It's so active and it's so much like, well, here's a thing. How can I tear this down? Let me pick at this. Let me pick at this. And my experience, my own personal experience, and my experience talking to other people who've gone through this process is it's exactly the opposite of that. We're all trying to like paste these things back into place, like trying to keep this structure together. Like, how can I possibly do it? And it's falling apart at a rate greater than we can possibly hold it together. And it all falls apart. And then the church looks at you and goes, why did you pick at it? Why did you try to make it all fall apart? Like, like I was not in the, I was not trying to deconstruct anything. I was working as hard as I could to reconstruct using all the tools that you gave me, and it didn't work. And now you're saying that's my fault because of you're reading into my internal world and imagining that I must have these evil desires. So like, no, that's not at all what happened to me. If that's what you mean by deconstruction, I didn't deconstruct anything. I'm absolutely 100% not I'm the opposite of whatever a deconstructionist is. But for someone who went through that and they were like, yeah, so I'm a deconstructionist or whatever. Like, I know what you're talking about. And yeah, you and I share the same experience. So yeah, it depends on who I'm talking to and what their baggage is on the table.
Okay. I thought I had a question, but I think you answered the question. But another one, you said deconstruction is worse than deconversion. And I always looked at it the other way around. But it's interesting. Yeah. I was visiting with the same professor that I was just talking about. I was visiting with him just last week. And while I was talking to him, a guest came by who I didn't know. And my professor said to this guest, the guest was somebody who served as a chaplain or dean of students or something at the school. My professor said to the former dean of students, yeah, Brady deconverted. And this former dean said, okay, just as long as you didn't deconstruct. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, how is deconstruction? Yeah, how is deconstruction worse than deconversion? And then just now you said sort of the same thing. So yeah, why would you say deconstruction is worse? And maybe
okay, so
that picking at thing that you talked about.
Yeah, I think so. In the baggage that I imagine evangelicals hold with the terms, deconversion is I guess, yeah, deconstruction sounds more active. Like I'm intending to do this thing. And deconversion, I feel like most trying to keep my terms straight here. Most deconstructionists don't consider themselves deconversionists, at least for a very long time.
Right.
They're holding on to that thing for a long time. So I think people would self-identify as deconstructionists long before they would identify as deconversionists.
Right. But that's why I would think it'd be a better term because of that, because it's not as out the door.
Yeah. Except I think I don't like the active part of it. I mean, in the end, I feel like the people who are going to quote Romans 1:18 on you and say that, this is your fault. This is, you're suppressing the truth because of the wickedness in your heart. I don't think the terminology is really going to matter. Those people are going to think that no matter what. But I've heard more evangelical discussed with deconstruction because it feels more like an attack. Like we've got this this fortress and we're trying to
Yeah.
hold together. And you
Yeah.
guys are working against us, as opposed to like someone slipped out the door because they want to go
Right. They're
away
not
or
still
whatever.
here taking bricks
We're
out the wall.
in it. Yeah, right. Like that.
Yeah.
That's less like we're enemies. I don't know.
That's interesting. Well, see, and maybe if I was a quiet deconversionist, like if I just deconverted and walked away, I wouldn't have that confliction that I had just now, because I feel like I'm doing more damage to the faith than somebody who's just inside it deconstructing, because I'm
Yeah.
picking bricks out the wall every day, but not every deconversionist is an active deconversionist.
Yeah, absolutely. They're actively
Okay.
doing the opposite in most all
Yeah.
cases. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So it's one thing to not out yourself as a deconversionist or deconstructionist. It's another thing though to not let go of the term Christian. So now I'm very curious.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So here again, the labels I feel like are silly. I am Jamin, and
Mhm,
I have as unique a perspective on the world as everybody else. And as there was a sense that when I was back in Christianity, that we all believed the same thing. I now know that that was silly.
mm,
We didn't have the same view as the denomination, any of the denominations that surrounded our church. We didn't even have the same view as other churches within our denomination. We didn't have the same view as other people inside of our church, inside of
right.
our denomination, inside of our religion.
Right.
And so everyone is holding their own
Mhm,
little microcosm of a theology. Now that I'm more on the outside, like that's more apparent to me that that's actually what's going on the inside, and that we can't admit that. They can't
mhm,
admit that. The people in the church, that's really uncomfortable. We need to believe that we hold on to some core truths at
mhm,
least, and then the only things that we disagree about are a few things on the fringe, but the core beliefs we all have it in common. You ask them what those core beliefs are, and then they
mhm,
don't line up. So that doesn't actually hold water, but I can understand the need to do that.
mhm,
So step one for me is labels are silly. I'm Jamin, and I believe the things that Jamin believes. But then further, whoever I'm talking to, like I think I've largely landed where I am, because when I go on Christian shows, the comments are like, your guest is obviously an atheist. Like, why would you platform a guy like this? And then when I go on atheist shows, people are like, he doesn't realize, but he's still a Christian. Like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't I don't have an interest in convincing anybody that I am that I'm not what they believe that I am. Like, okay,
Okay.
so I feel it's similar to, like, if you voted this way, then you're not a true American. Like, all
Mm,
right, whatever. Like, I am, and I proving it to you does nothing. And also, I don't think that I could prove it to you. Like, if you don't want to believe that I'm a true American, then
mhm,
you don't have to believe that I am. I imagine, like, if someone told you, like, you're not really black, like, you're just
mm.
like, screw you. Like, who you don't get to decide what I am.
But there's
So
still a question that's unanswered, because with the American, the person it wants to claim their Americanness. With me being black, it's self-evident that I'm what we call black. But with
is it?
you being Christian, yeah, I mean, if somebody were to say, "You're a black man," I said, "No, I'm not," and they say, like, "Oh, my
Oh, yes.
mistake," like, yeah, like,
Right. I can imagine it would work that way, but I could imagine that you could say things or
hmm
vote for specific people that people who are officially black would say that you're not officially black. Like, they would try to unsanction you. No?
uh, yes, but even that I feel like gets into things that are quantifiable in a way that the Christian thing. So here's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Okay, it's one thing for someone else to say, I'm black and I have a dispute or whatever, or you're
Right.
not American, whatever. But the
Yes.
question is, but what do you say? Like when it comes
Right.
to being Christian,
Yes.
it's a different discussion of what people might call you.
Absolutely.
But you could, I guess the question I should have asked is, why would you call yourself a Christian? Not why somebody else
Right.
would, but why would you?
Yeah.
If you
Because
would.
that yeah. Well, I think that I walk through my world assuming that I am. Um, and so, like, I don't believe I can understand why a Christian would be offended at me saying that I'm a Christian, because I don't believe the things that in their world qualifies me as one. Also, I spent 40 years there. It's not like I've got a separate parallel 40 years that I spent somewhere else. Like, this is deeply ingrained in me. And I wake up every morning feeling the same amount a Christian as I used to wake up every morning feeling. And like, all of my references are Christian references. All the bands that I listen to were 100% Christian bands. All of my vocabulary is talking about blessing and a holy and all of the Christian stuff. I don't have another like me that I can put in there. And also, I don't feel an intense desire to replace all of that. And he's like, I feel like I don't have the hatred for it that would make me feel like I need to reject all of that. So as far as like, I don't believe the Christian things, but as far as like, I mean, the Christians don't believe the Christian things. Like, show me any two Christians that can agree on what it means to be a Christian. Like, you go into any internet forum, Reddit, Facebook, Quora, YouTube, Substack, whatever you want to do, and just ask, what do you need to do to be a Christian? None of them agree. You're going to get as many different answers as there are people. And like, if you walk into a church, like, don't do it online. Just walk into a church and be like, hey, I want to get saved. What do I need to get saved? They're probably going to pray the sinner's prayer with you. And that has nothing to do with salvation at all. Like, that's a made up thing.
But I would think that the Christ in Christian is the bare minimum. Like,
which
that a Christ, that there is a historical Christ sent by God, an anointed person sent by God, who did a salvific thing on behalf of at least some portion of humanity. Like, to me, if you don't have Christ in that, if you don't have an anointed person sent by God to do something for humanity, and I'm boiling it down to like I'm not even saying what the something is.
I respect it.
I'm not even saying what the some.
I think you're doing a terrible job, but I respect you.
Sent by God to do something, I'm going to put it this way, eternally beneficial for humanity. That's the most spiritual I'll get with it. I don't know if you could find a bona fide or bona fiable Christian who doesn't at least have that.
Okay. So then C.S. Lewis wrote a book called Mere Christianity, in which he tried to boil down this thing of like, what are the absolute basics? As it turns out, it's several hundred pages long, because just trying to boil it down and be like, well, okay, but here's an exception. Well, you got to see it this way. Like, it takes a long time. Even in that book, like, I don't think most modern Christians agree with a lot of the stuff that's in his book. You got it there?
Okay. I think I have it somewhere here. Somewhere over there.
Like, in there, he alludes to the idea that probably, like, if you're taking all this stuff at face value, probably our pets can get saved through us. Like that, and he's just trying to like not say anything extra, just the absolute basics, and he still ends up on these crazy ideas that Christians today are not going to agree with. So, and also, I think that I could largely agree. I think I think that Jesus was a person who did come here with the intent, from where? I mean, from his mother's womb. But he came from God as much as any of us come from God. And according to him, that it was equal. Like, he and the Father are one, just the same as me and the Father are one. So, like, in his own theology, he comes from the same Father as me to the same extent. And
what extent is that, though?
Yeah, well, I think he was. And I hate to say this, because I've got a lot of Christian friends, and I don't want to offend them, but I think he was sadly mistaken. Like, I see the story of Jesus as a great tragedy. Like, I think he thought that he was bringing about the new kingdom in the time of the apocalypse, and that he and his 12 disciples were going to rule over the world. The 12 disciples were going to rule over the 12 nations, as he told them that they would, and that he would rule over them. And I think that's what he really thought was happening. So when he suffered and when he died, I think that to the extent that we can trust the Gospels, It's less than 100, let's say. Uh, like, to the extent that that story is true, I think that he probably was metaphorically, at least, dying for my sins. Now, as it turns out, I don't have any sins, and as it turns out, he didn't have any effect on my sins, even if they did exist. But I think that he was, I think he was sincerely trying to bring about the good in the world that Christians think that he was. And I am personally affected by his life. I spent 40 years affected personally with my relationship with Jesus Christ that I
Mm.
really had, regardless of whether he exists or not. Like my kids have, relationships with their imaginary friends, and those relationships are real. You don't need the person to be real in order for the relationship to be real. I really had a relationship with Jesus Christ for 40 years. He was my best friend, and he still shows up. He's still here.
Mm.
And just like, have you seen the movie Beautiful Mind with Russell
Yes.
Crowe? Okay,
Yes.
cool. So then he's got like this best friend, right? That's with
Uh-huh.
him. And then one day he realizes, oh, wait, my best friend isn't real. And he goes through the rest of his life. And for the rest of his life, his best friend still tags along. He's still there. And you just know this guy played a really important role in my life. And he's not really real, but he's still here with me. And this is my life. So, I mean, I walk with Jesus every day. I had a relationship with him for 40 years. He was my best friend. And all of my culture and all of my my vocabulary, my like everything about my life just
So
screams Christian.
I'm curious. You don't have to say more than you want to. Do you actually still pray?
Yes.
Wow. And do you count it as just a different form of meditation, or what? Like,
Yeah.
how? Okay.
Well, so I spent a long time, and I do both actually. So I pray and I meditate. I mostly pray. I mostly meditate in like a gratitude practice, and then I mostly pray when I can sense that I tend to be a pretty neurotic person. So when I'm ruminating about something that isn't not going to give, not going to, I can't change it. It's not in my power. Then a lot of times I'll give those things to God. And it worked before, and it works today. So like,
I'm sorry, but for clarity, what does works mean?
so it helps me to not ruminate as much because I
Gotcha.
feel like someone else's, I have put that on somebody else's to-do list. It shouldn't be on mine anyway. So now this thing that I can't work out, I'm asking you to take care of this. And now
And
it's not
who
mine.
takes care of it?
Nobody. The same as before. No one took care of it before and it worked. No one takes care of it now. It's not something that I need to hold on to.
I don't know what to say because
It's
I'm
weird.
like, oh, why? And is it simply because for me, the reason it worked before is because I
Yes.
thought someone was there.
Right. I know. It's a disappointment.
So I guess I don't know how it works knowing that no one's there. You know what I mean? Like, if I were to pray today, like, so one of the things that motivates me to do the things that need to be done is
Yeah.
I know no one else is going to do it.
Right.
And so I have, like, I can't pray, I can't wait, I can't trust, I can't hope. I got to do everything that's in my power to do.
Yeah.
And then rather than casting the weight of things I can't do on God, I live in that reality of I can't do anything about that. And I just live with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As opposed to putting it off, I sit with it. But I guess I don't know how it works if you know no one's there.
Yeah. So then I think that it has a lot to do with like neurology and things like priming. Like
Okay.
if you took, let's say you take melatonin every night and that helps you get to sleep, and you do that for 40 years, right? And every night, and like, but the nights you don't take melatonin, you can't get to sleep. And then some study reveals, oh, melatonin doesn't help with sleep at all. And you're like, wait a second.
Mm,
My 40 years says otherwise.
mhm.
I would recommend that person still stock melatonin and still take it every night because it's probably going to help you with your sleep. Because you're used to this thing that when you do this thing, your body reacts in a way that is beneficial. So why would you stop taking melatonin just because it doesn't work?
But when you realize that you've trained your body to react that way, and that the
Right.
body can be retrained,
Yes.
the
Right.
neuroplasticity, right? Wow, our
Yes.
mind can rewire. So,
Right.
like, I don't
Right. So
get
then
it.
this is what I was saying before. Like I went through this process of like, okay, so like when I can't deal with it, if there's nothing I can do to help my situation, then I need to, go through this other meditation of like just trying to, or just like you're saying, just like sit with it. And as I'm like trying to relearn this skill, I'm like, wait a second, I've already got this skill. Like I already have a thing that works for this. And
But
and so my phrase is like, God used me for 40 years. I want to
now
use
I'm
him
going to
for the
use
next
God.
40. Like, why wouldn't I? I could relearn this same exact skill secularly. I don't know why I would.
I'm going to
I don't know.
try that for a week because I just want to
I don't
see.
think it'll work for you. It won't work for
It
you.
probably won't, but I want to see what is it like to like. I remember being in church, and I've said this on this podcast before. There were certain parts of worship songs that I couldn't sing because I just felt foolish
Oh, yeah.
singing to somebody who was probably dead.
Right.
And I imagine if I tried to go a week, like, let me just see if it works to give this situation to God.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to see what my brain's going to do with that because
I have, it's hard to say the words. Like praying out loud is well. So I still have Christian friends, and so I'll go out to eat with them or whatever, and or they'll pray with me. And I see that at like I'll say the prayer sometimes, because I still feel like that's a communion with them. And again, I'm like using the word communion, like I'm a Christian, except for the believing in Jesus part. But like I still cherish this moment that I have with them, and we've got food in front of us, and I'm very grateful for this food. And I feel like I'm not the only one who brought this food here. I'm here because of my friend and because of all the people that made this. And like there are so many forces that go into, whoever put this building together, whoever nailed the nails, the person who like runs the restaurant. There's so much that goes into this. And like I could call that whole entity God. And like I'm just deeply grateful for this meal here and for this time that I had with my friend. And I ask that this would be a good time together. And I would say that you would bless our time together. And I don't mean that aimed at any God, but I know that my friend is going to appreciate it. Like,
but I don't think they will if they know that you don't believe what they believe. Like, how is this not you pretending that the thing that they believe with all their heart is real? And it's almost like I would think it would be a mockery to them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if they found out that
you're on the internet, I can't edit this part out.
No, I think they do know that. Like I wouldn't say anything that I don't mean sincerely. I find a way, and so my prayers are not as fluid as they used to be, because I can't say, hey, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this. Like I don't mean any of that. But what do I mean? And so I mean it sincerely, and I think that the ceremony of recognizing the holiness or divinity, even though I don't believe in the supernatural, I do think that like this moment that I'm sharing here with you, I'm having a great time. Like this is going to be memorable for me. I feel like we're building a relationship. Like this to me is special. There's something unique going on here that I don't have with my coffee cup or my something else, like, and that I don't have with any other person. Right now, my focus is 100% on you, and it's just you and me here. Like that feels what I would have described before as holy. And I think I was right to use that word. I just don't think the supernatural part of it existed. And so I could genuinely be grateful for this holy interaction that I have with you. And I mean that literally, but not supernaturally.
My mind is, I'm so glad I took those gummies. Soren Lott says he's a Christian.
See, this is what I'm saying. Uh-huh. Yes, I am. Also, like
LPW says, I'm sorry, bro. Bro, it's so confusing. Yeah. My head's starting to hurt.
That's fair. I'm not asking that it makes sense to anybody else, but like this is
well, go ahead. This is how you go ahead, because that's probably the most.
This is how I live my life, and I don't feel like I need to convince any atheists that I'm really an atheist. Like,
Hmm.
Jesus wasn't God. He didn't rise from the dead. None of the miracles are real. The Bible is largely fabricated and a ridiculous uh, conglomeration of church wishes that they would want to put on the people who follow them. Like, I don't know what credentials I need like to be a real atheist. And for all the Christians, like, well, you guys don't know what Christians are either. So like, who are you to tell me that I'm not one? Like, I
Hmm.
back to like the whole like you're not a real American thing. Like, I don't know. I pray more than you. I do more good deeds than you. I'm a better Christian now than I was back when I believed
Hmm.
this stuff. I'm believe more in justice. I believe more in compassion. I'm way more compassionate than I was before. Like, all the things that I was aspiring to for
Hmm.
God before, I'm doing 300% more now for me.
I think
So
most atheists could say that's the atheist experience.
yes, absolutely. There, yep. So then, like, by what means do you like not you? I understand you don't want me on your team. You don't pick me. That's cool. I'm gonna stand in the middle, unpicked, and be me.
So I think I have two questions for two different groups of people, and I don't even know who's who. But I'll ask it for the Christian. I think this would be the question for you. When you do those prayers and those things and all that, and you don't mean it the way the typical Christian means it, but you mean it as sincerely as you can, especially when you're praying, do you ever have a moment where you wish there was someone there?
Yeah, once again, this is gonna be offensive to my Christian friends. So maybe tune away for this part. But there's no analogy that I know that's better, and so I'm looking for one because I don't like saying the word Santa Claus.
Mhm.
But I don't feel like there's a better way to answer this question succinctly, and I've already forgotten what the question is. Do I what when I'm praying those prayers?
Um, don't ask me. The gummies are taking over right now.
I know.
Oh,
Hang on.
do you wish there was someone there?
Right. Okay. So then, do I wish that Santa was real? It seems like an analogous thing to me. Like, I feel like it's the exact same thing. Like,
Mm,
there's a part of me that wishes, like, yeah, like there's a version of Santa that's great, and that like I wish that he was real. Also, like if there was really someone at the North Pole who
mm,
was like enslaving elves and was an anti-Semite and refused, like, on purpose, gave bad gifts to kids who he didn't feel like had been good enough. Like, kids are a mix of naughty and nice. There's no
mm,
nice kids and naughty kids. So like the fact that you're making this binary distinction and some of them giving them everything that they've asked for and others you're telling them you're a horrible kid or not going to their home at all. Like, that's an evil, like he needs to be brought in for war crimes because he's an evil dude. So no, I wouldn't really actually bring Santa to life because I think that he's evil. But there's a version of him that it's pleasant. So no,
okay.
I think that if God really existed, that I mean that's he's again he's got a million times the war crimes that Santa has to answer for. But so I don't actually wish, but I wish that I wished maybe.
Mm, okay. And then for the other side, I think the question that I had was, so you say atheists won't recruit you to their team, and that's okay. But I think the question that somebody might have is, why reinforce the thing that you have to sort of, I don't mean mock in a negative way, I just mean like to imitate the thing that you have to pretend
Mhm,
that other people are doing for real.
mhm.
Why pretend and um like fortify and continue to perpetuate
Mhm.
just the idea that there is someone there, that you have people who are leaving their destiny up to a ancient book and a sky
Yeah.
being, rather than casting cares on someone that they know is not there like you are. They really
Yeah.
are hoping for help from someone who's not going to help, where they could be empowering themselves.
Right.
Like, why perpetuate that?
Yeah. Well, I'm not
Not
doing it
that you're
publicly.
preaching it.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Same thing. I just said not that you're preaching it or anything.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So this is not something like I think in all of my um communication, I'm pretty clear that like I don't think that the supernatural exists, and I don't
Mm,
think that the Bible is anything near inerrant or univocal or
Mm.
what we said that it was. So I don't feel like I'm unclear about that. And also, I don't feel like doing those things perpetuates anything in my life any more than when you sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Like, aren't you afraid that that's going to like make you wonder if Santa's real?
Oh no, but see, when I said perpetuating, I didn't mean for you. I
Okay.
mean your participation in those things,
Mhm.
perpetuating the myth in for others.
I don't know who it does. Like, my kids
Okay.
aren't Christians, and I don't go to church.
Okay.
Um, like, I don't know. I don't think that it's right to, um, yeah, to lie to people. Um, but also, I don't think that I probably have quite the. I'm not as sure as a lot of atheists that I hear who are public atheists that religion is what are the right words? I want to make sure I get them right. It
Unhealthy.
seems to me that, what's that?
Unhealthy.
No, I mean, so the religion, each individual religion itself ends up being evil. The more you tack on,
Mm.
like again, like back to the C.S. Lewis thing. Like he starts with like, how can I just boil it down? Here's what's the smallest thing, and then you got to tack on one more and one more. And by the time you get to this thing, that's rolling around on all kinds of people and just squashing the life out of us.
Mm.
So that ends up being a really really negative thing. But I mean, I do have a certain amount of respect for the heuristic of God. Like
Mm.
there, it seems like the vast majority of humanity has invented some kind of guy
Mm.
of
Yeah.
some sort. It seems um, evident to me that it has played some kind of evolutionary role in our development, and I have to think that it was positive in our
Mm.
reproduction and creation of communities to get here. And so I have some kind of respect for
Mm.
that. Also, I think that graping people also played a huge role in getting us to where we are. Probably we wouldn't. I don't. Maybe we wouldn't have made it as far if there hadn't been just like, who's the dude that Genghis Khan or whatever, like
Mm.
just like everywhere he went, like he was just spreading his seed everywhere. I don't know, like maybe that helps us get here. I'm not saying that's a good thing or that I would want to perpetuate that, but like I do have to acknowledge like that might have been what got us here, and we shouldn't do that going forward. And I might feel the same way about religion. Like it might have given hope to the hopeless, and caused them to do things that they wouldn't have otherwise done.
I was about to jump on the wagon because I had a thought.
Sorry.
Um, but yeah, the graping analogy just made like that took the steam out of my jumping on the
Sorry.
wagon. Uh, but no, so I do get the idea though of it it being not necessarily religion, but you're right, some story that cultures have had to tell themselves about where we've come from and what happens when we die. Either to pacify the very young who could not graduate to a state of, just acceptance of the facts and, um, you know, uh, nihilism. If you're trying to pacify a child who can't deal with those things, maybe you invent these stories. And then the people who grow up hearing those stories, now they end up going, at some point you start believing those stories. But some generation knew, no, I just can't tell this story to this. I can't tell this child that we don't know what happens when we die. We got to tell them something. I said that to say, apart from that, man, I lost the thought after all that setup. We know what's happening right now. It's probably time to end the stream.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I'm
Okay.
gonna try to find
Yeah.
it.
Well, I think that there's it seems like there is Well, the fact that people who leave religion have a hard time recreating their community, and it seems like there's always this sense of like, but how do I get this? Like, this was my one-stop shop. And aside from church and military, I don't know anywhere else that provides quite well. Let's just say cults and military. I don't know anywhere else that you can get like, just join our group and then you don't have to do we'll take care of it all. You got community, you got friends, you got belonging, you got meaning, you got like, it's all right here. Just sign up, just sign on the dotted line, and we're going to take care of the rest of it. And we're going to turn you into the being that you're supposed to be. Like, once you leave that group, like you can't, you got to cobble that together from a dozen different sources in my experience.
That's one of the main things that people who deconvert deal with is the loss of community. But in the same way that peoples all around the world have had to invent stories to make up for that gap, maybe they just couldn't deal with the existential dread. And so it helped in that way, whether it was God or gods or spirits or whatever, some animism, whatever it is, everybody had to invent something. This is the point that I forgot a minute ago. But if that is what God is, and I know you're not saying this, but I guess I'm just putting this out there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Does it mean that we can't, like, in the same way that everybody had to invent something, maybe it's time to invent something new, and something new based on we know more than they knew. So the things that used to, like, there's certain things from the Bible that just can't give me comfort because I know what it stems from. And once I know what it stems from, I can't rely on even the muscle memory of that anymore. But I guess I'm saying that to say, but we got so much more information now about life, about the world, about history, about the future. Though we don't know what happens when we die. But I guess I'm just saying that to say, why settle for the cope of generations past? Why not embrace what little to know, or maybe, depending on how you deal with certain existential themes, maybe there's more comfort today than people 2,000 years ago had, so that you don't need to rely on those things.
Yeah, absolutely. There are. I mean, I think that's the point of humanism, and a lot of the groups that are popping up. We've been trying to do that, and I do think that it is richer out here. Like, that's also another really common experience is if you leave religion and you can survive that horrible turmoil, on the other side of that, it's so much more, the world is so much more beautiful. You're going to experience so much more of what you've been striving. You've been trying to be a Christian. You've been trying to find God. You went to church and you bawled your eyes out. You lifted your hands. You prostrated yourself on the floor and you tried to find God. And you know what? If you leave church, he's right there. Like, as soon as you leave, you're like, oh, this is like, we're all connected. This is all like, everything that I was striving for in religion and hoping for, it's all just like plainly available for everybody. And so I feel like there is definitely that thing. It's in the same way that, like, once you actually lose Santa, like, that's a horrible, like, that's so sad. Like, you had this thing and then you lost it. And then you also realize, wait a second, you're telling me my parents put in the work every year to put up that damn elf on the shelf every single day and find something new for him to do, and then they bought me presents and they hid them under the tree, and they did all of that just so I could have, like, Christmas is so much more beautiful if you just take Santa out of it. Like, it's deeper and it's like less magical, but it's so much more beautiful. And you see, wait, we're all just, for one time in the year, we're all just deciding, everybody get your shit together. We're gonna be cool with each other. We're gonna try to be cool. Uncle Joe, he's Uncle Joe, but mostly we're gonna try to, like, be cool with each other. And like, that's so much more beautiful than, like, Santa's watching you. You better be good, or else you're gonna get coal. Like, and I feel like that's the same thing when you leave Christianity. Like, oh, this thing is all so awesome, but it takes a lot of work to get there, and it really sucks. It's a bummer of a process. But there is that, we already have that outside of religion. It's just called being a human and appreciating what's around you.
But I guess, and we can wrap it up here because it's going on an hour, but I'm so confused. Like, I'm riding with what you're saying on the back of the Harley. Like, okay, I got you. But then at a certain point, it turns and I fall off because I'm like, but you're cosplaying a thing to get the benefit when the benefit of the thing comes from the thing being believed.
Okay.
And I guess it's your process. Like you somehow still get the benefit, but it's a different benefit, isn't it?
Well, yes, absolutely. Uh-huh. It's very different. And I don't think that. I mean, I am hopefully I've got some more years to live. And I'm only where I am in this process. So there's a lot of people on both sides. The atheists like, well, obviously he's still hanging on to his Christianity, but eventually he's going to turn into a real atheist. And the Christians are like, see, God's still tugging at his heartstrings. He's going to bring him back. And so everyone's got an idea of like what my trajectory is and like where I'm going to land. I might land right here. I don't know. I doubt it. I hope that I'm going to change stuff. So maybe it's just like I haven't become a real atheist yet because I'm not brave enough or whatever the thing is. But also, I don't feel like I'm cosplaying anything. Again, I only say things that I really truly mean. And I think one of the evils of the church is that they have a monopoly on all the best vocabulary to describe the experience of being a human, divine and holy and communion. And like these should be our atheist words. Like these should be words that we're allowed to use because some experiences are divine. But unfortunately, that means that carries all the baggage of supernaturalism with it. And it's like, well, it's not that thing. So let's come up with a new, better word. There's not one. That's the word for it. It's divine. That's what it is. And it is communion. These are holy things. So I feel like why let them hang on to all those words? Like those are the good words. I like the words.
Oh man. I have to think about the things that you're saying because I'm like, I want to have an issue with it, but I'm like, what's the harm? And it's not only what's the harm. I'm like, it's not just harm. He's getting a benefit from it, but it's because the thing that's getting me is you call it your journey, but I might end up here or I might end up on some other trajectory. Because I feel like I'm on a journey too. I guess I'm trying to figure out why wasn't that a stage in my journey? Like, how do you get the wherewithal to do that? And this is very fascinating to me.
Yeah, part of it might be like the sudden abrupt loss of all of my community. Like I was alone, and then I was like, oh well, what am I? Well, I'm 40 years a Christian. I know how to do that, except that I can't do it anymore because I don't believe in it anymore. So like, I don't. What am I now? So
yeah,
I don't feel an allegiance to any team. And so like when the atheists are like, but this is what you have to do if you're going to be atheist, like, well, then I'm not one of those. And the Christian's like, well, this is what you have to do if you're going to be a Christian. Like, well, I'm not one of those. I don't know. Like, I don't.
But you don't still go to church.
No, no, not Christian church at least. So,
okay.
I've visited a lot more different types of churches now that I've been more interested in religion. And this is another thing that Christians don't see coming is that like as soon as you leave Christianity and as soon as you stop reading your Bible, Christianity is a lot more fascinating and the Bible's a lot more fascinating. I study the Bible a lot better now that I don't have to believe that it's inerrant because it can just be a bunch of a library of books that are like, now it's actually interesting. Why do these two contradict instead of like, what are we going to do about this contradiction? Like, that's an uninteresting question. And the answer is always ignore it or wait for William Lane Craig to explain it away. But like, if you don't have to do that and you see these contradictions, like, oh, well, what were these two different authors trying? The Bible's a fascinating book, and the Christianity is a fascinating religion if you don't have to believe in it anymore. So I don't remember where I was going with that. Sorry.
I just was sitting here thinking yours is probably the most fascinating and interesting after faith routes I've experienced.
Yeah, I'm weird. Like, I get it.
Yeah, no, but I mean it's fascinating. I'm very curious as to
it. Aside from the prayer thing, I kind of feel like for a lot of atheists, if I wasn't praying, they'd be a lot cooler with me. But then when I say like that, I still try to talk to God.
But you don't consider yourself religious.
Well, okay. If by religion you mean the form, then I definitely have the form still. Like I've got
Okay.
all of the worship songs memorized. I've got like DC Talk is one or two of their songs is still on my playlist. So like and I can't listen to worship music anymore. Like again, the lyrics to that stuff is just so
Mhm.
horribly wrong. But so much of the form of my Christianity still exists. So if that's what religion is, then yes. But if the belief that Jesus rose from the dead is what you mean by religion, then no, I can't have the belief. But also, I feel like that's God's fault. Like if he's there, like I
Mm,
don't have the choice. I'm open. Like maybe there is a guy in the North Pole, and maybe he's really got elves, and really he hands out presents. I feel like if he's going to not bring me presents for not believing in him, when he's going to keep himself so hidden,
mm,
like that's his fault. I don't get any presents, and I don't have any power over that. I'm gonna need you to prove that you're there. So maybe God is there, and if so, he apparently doesn't want me to believe in him.
mm.
At least not yet. Maybe tomorrow, but until then, I'm gonna I'm
Gotcha.
gonna keep trying to be honest.
Yeah. Hey man, I appreciate you walking us through your process some more. It's going to remain fascinating for me. I think I am going to try just to see if that muscle
Yeah.
memory does anything to like lift my spirits or whatever, help me in some kind of way. I just think that's an interesting exercise.
Yeah.
And
Do you,
yeah,
do you ever like do you ever sit in gratitude of the things that you have?
not intentionally,
Okay.
but I mean there are times throughout the week when there's a lull, and I guess for lack of a better term, I appreciate the life that I'm living.
Yeah. And then like so I don't direct that at God.
Mhm,
Um unless I'm, well still even when I'm praying with other people, I'm just but like the source of the thing that you're appreciating is what as an atheist. I'm not saying it should be God. It should not be God. So I'm not advocating for that. But like what you
just the fact of the matter that I'm appreciating the fact of the matter.
yeah, right. But like the universe gave you more than you deserved.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh.
For all I know, I'm getting just what I deserve. Like,
Okay. Uh, so if you have the opportunity to spin the wheel of
mm.
100 billion people that have ever lived, or live your current life, do you want to spin that wheel, or do you want to just keep on going with what you got?
so, so weird question to ask a man who's in the clouds right now. Um,
Like, are you cool
yeah,
living like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago? Like, do you want that life? Like, or what about like? I mean, for me at least, I'll speak for myself. I There are a lot of things that I wish that I had, and there's a lot of people beyond me with more
mhm,
money or more whatever, and I wish that I had what they had. If I got a chance to spin that wheel, I'm not touching it because
mm,
I'm so far of the
mhm.
average human experience of people who have ever lived that I got a better deal than almost anybody who's ever lived. Um, and I'm grateful for that. Um, and I don't know, I don't direct it toward anybody, but I
Mhm.
do feel like the experience. I know it's not an outside force, but it does feel like it's an outside force that gave something to me.
That now see, we talked for an hour and it finally came out. I think that one statement says
Yeah.
a lot more about where you are in your process because I think I would suspect that further down the road, if you chose to go down that trajectory, in the same way that evolution doesn't have a aim, evolution wasn't aiming for like this is how the dice roll. Like
Yes.
there's no aim.
Right.
Um, and so to say, like I'm grateful to have been me as if there was any other possibility.
Right.
And we don't know that there was a
There
other
wasn't.
possibility.
There
S-
wasn't. I
Right,
if I was gonna be me, I had to be here with you here tonight.
right.
100%.
So
Yeah.
being grateful as if something else could have like possibly been the case.
Okay. Let me try one more thing with you.
Okay.
Uh, okay. Uh, you Do you believe in love?
I believe in certain definitions of love. I don't know.
Go on.
Like,
What definitions do you believe of love?
I believe I have a famous definition in certain communities for my definition of love is a commitment to give someone your best even when they deserve your worst. I think that exists.
Okay. Have you ever been in love?
That would be a different definition of love.
Okay. Have you ever been in love?
Yes.
Okay. And what is that? What is the definition of that love?
I've the romantic or erotic eros love. I would say the definition of that love would be more. I think it's feeling like you can't live without someone.
Yeah. Right. Uh-huh. I like that. So then I think you and I both agree that love is not an external force and that is biochemical and happens inside of your own body. I mean, with the exception of like pheromones and other, like it's all there can be stuff in the air, but like there's the experience of it, of love, is more, it feels more magical than the description of the chemicals that are being released in your brain, the oxytocin and all the other stuff. Like we could break it down and be like, well, here's why you did that, and the reason that you're attracted to this person is because you're the aunt that you knew was whatever, and then you had this experience in your childhood, and this is why you're attracted to all the people that you're attracted to. But when you are in love, it feels the experience of it needs a different vocabulary than the definition of it. The definition is, well, here's what happened biochemically. The experience of it needs something like, no, like I'm in love. Like love can't, like I fell into love. Love is a thing that's outside of me and I can't, it's out of my control. Of course it's not. It's all inside of your head. But I don't treat my kids as if love is just a biochemical thing. I tell them that I love them and I mean it with my heart. And I know that you can't mean something with your heart. That's a ridiculous statement. But I do use that vocabulary to describe the experience. And so I similarly feel like I don't believe in love. I don't think that that's a thing. I don't think Cupid actually hits anybody with any arrows. But I do think that when you are in love, it feels like someone hit you with arrows. And that's the right vocabulary to use to describe the experience. And I think the religious vocabulary is the right vocabulary to describe the experience of being in this thing that feels magical that we call life. And it's not magical. But I don't begrudge the people who want to use the vocabulary that describes the experience better than the definition of it.
And you're one of those people.
I can definitely get in the space of like, well, I love my wife. I love my kids. Like one of my kids in here, like I love them. You can't tell me that I don't, even though I don't believe it exists. I do love them. And I'm okay with both of those contradictory statements being true because the experience of that I have with them is absolutely love. And I try to give love to them. And I know that that's not a thing that I can do. But I try to shower them with love. I'm in love with my wife. I really am. And none of that is real. But I play the game. What was your thing? You wear the mask? There was something like that.
I don't remember.
Yeah, okay. Anyway,
yeah, I have more thoughts about that, but I don't want to belabor the point. But like I said, this is just so unique, and we got to talk more, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, but go subscribe to Jamin's channel, If I'm Really Honest, where he's letting other people tell their stories about, I wanted to remain in something, but there was just one thing that made me say, but if I'm really honest, there's this issue. And it's not religion. Most of the times it's people in different communities, professional and otherwise, who have that same experience. Now, Jamin, just curious, because you had your, if I'm really honest, moment with Christianity, and then remained adjacent, at least in practice.
Okay.
The people that you are having on, when they have their, but if I'm really honest moment, do a lot of them leave the communities, or are they still somehow attached?
I feel like it's very similar. Like when you have that, especially when that's been your whole world, the deeper you are in that world,
Mm,
the more you want to believe. Like there's got to be a way for me to hold on to my internal honesty and hold on to my community. Like surely this is a thing. There's
mm,
a lady, Jamie Reed, who like she was she's a lesbian. She was married to a trans man, and she went to work at a youth trans facility where they like help youth transition and stuff. And so she's like, this is her work. Like this is what she's dedicated her life to, especially in this environment where there's so much pressure to like, whatever. Like she's chosen her path and she knows her people, and she goes in there and she sees some really uncomfortable things happening to youth, and she's like, I'm not comfortable with what's happening here in my group. And she expects that this is her world, this is her community. And she expects them to be like, oh yeah, actually, you know what? Because we're all about the youth. We care about the youth. Let's do this thing. And the opposite happens. And she tries to, but wait, no, I'm not saying we're bad. Obviously, I think we're good. I've dedicated my life to this thing, but like, can you guys see this thing, right? I feel like that's like in almost all cases, you try to hold on to it. The
mm,
lady I was talking about the meditation, she sat on that study that she did for 10 years,
mm,
hoping that she was wrong. She's like, she found out like this thing causes insomnia. There's a lot of really negative side effects of meditation. And then she's like, I can't publish this. And then 10 years later, finally, she's like,
mm.
it seems like this is the truth. So
Yeah.
it feels like a similar journey for everybody. Like there's a long
Mm,
time, various amounts of time of hoping that you're
mm,
wrong about the thing. And then I think the more courageous people who are willing to pay whatever it costs to be internally
mm.
honest, pull the trigger and
Wow.
whatever the consequences. So I will say too, also, so that's my podcast, and that's I try to not be religious because I don't want to bring all those
Mhm.
guests into my crazy religious world that doesn't even make sense to atheists or Christians. Like I'm not trying to drag them in, but then also this is my world. So then on YouTube, I also release videos that don't go into my podcast that do have to do with
Ah,
religion and
okay,
abortion and all that stuff. So if
okay.
you're subscribing on YouTube, then you're going to get all of my crazy ideas and also the podcast. Or if you don't want to hear my crazy ideas about religion, I don't blame you. I don't want them either, but they're there in my head. So I'm putting them out there. You can
No,
just do
because
the podcast.
now I want to go see what you're actually saying about religion in light of what you said tonight about how
Right.
you use religion. So yeah, well, let's go check out Jamin's channel, subscribe, and comment over there. Like and subscribe here. Appreciate you guys coming through tonight. Somebody said Brady needs to end this stream and go get some sleep. Yeah, I'm vibing. My eyes are probably red and everything. Hey, thanks for coming back on the channel, man, and good luck to you
Anytime.
with yours. And we'll link up again soon. Peace.